Live from America's heartland, this is the Daily Truth Report with your host, Noah Christopher.
All right, welcome back to the Daily Truth Report. And back with us, it's been a while, Bo Polny back on the show. Bo, it's so great to have you back here. Welcome.
Thanks, Noah. Yeah, it's just like, since we talk a lot about crypto, it's been boring, so there really hasn't been a lot to say since, we knew that top in crypto was going to come in last fall. And since then, it's been a massive holding pattern. So we got a lot to talk about today. So thank you, Noah, for having me back.
Absolutely. And you're right. It has been boring. But I think we've got some activity coming around the corner here. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Bitcoin is, like we said, boring. It's about 77,000 right now. Ethereum's about 2,100, and XRP, of course, is 136. So I always like to read those. I think we'll look back on these someday and really smile when we see what the prices were back in these old interviews. But Bo, with that, let me put your slides up on the screen. I know you got a lot of brand new stuff to cover today. This is going to be almost entirely new stuff. We've never talked about any of this before, and we've got a lot of crypto to talk about as we go. So with that, Bo, where do we start today?
Well, I think we need to kind of start with, we need a change in this world. And specifically, I think we can all agree, those who've been watching Noah and I, we've done podcasts for a long time, many years. And if you recall, and again, Noah's going to kind of listen to everything we're saying here. And then if there's anything that's off, but I want to be really clear about what happened with cryptocurrency and happening with cryptocurrencies, silver, gold, because we want to touch on about finances here. And again, we're not going to give recommendations. We're telling you what Noah and I have been doing for a long time. Okay. And why I'm saying all this is specifically because we've talked about Bitcoin since it was under $10,000. Okay, we've been talking about this for 7-8 years, I believe. We've been talking about this, and it was in November of 2022 where Bitcoin began to run vertical. And we did a podcast then. We said this is the forever bottom, and it was like 14,000 or 15,000. And we said Bitcoin is going to run, and it's going to keep going. And all my newsletters from that moment on basically said that Bitcoin is going to run into the fall time, specifically September, October of 2026. Bingo. Okay. So it happened exactly like we wanted it to happen. But then what happened? And actually topped out right around 124,000. Interesting, 124. But it topped up around that number. And then it's been like boring ever since. Like, I don't know what else to say, but it's been boring. It's supposed to go in a down cycle. It did drop. And it's been, like as Noah was saying, it's in the 70s right now. XRP is going to always move with Bitcoin. Now, it doesn't matter what people want to believe about that, but that is the truth. Because if Bitcoin is in a bull market, guess which direction XRP is going? Upwards. Okay. The thing is, they've been manipulating, and I know specifically Noah has been talking about XRP for a long time. He likes it. And there's a lot of now really wonderful prophecies about XRP and its potential and what it's going to, not might do, no, what it will do. Okay. So XRP is going to do extremely well. But again, why is it not moving? Let's talk about silver. Silver, same thing. Silver was so exciting last year. And Noah and I were on podcasts all last year going, watch silver break through 50, and everybody thought we were nuts, but we are 1,000% right. Okay. And so silver broke through $50 in the fall of last year. And in the span of 6 weeks, it ran from like 40 or like $50, I think, to specifically $121. Mm-hmm. This is like nuts. In 6 weeks, it did this. Okay. So what an exciting end to the year and the start to 2026. And then at the end of January, they created insane amount of money. It's all I know. I don't know how much, but it was in the billions. Okay. And they smashed silver down. And now they're going to do whatever they can to keep silver under $100. They want to keep silver under 3 digits. No, they're going to try to get it down under $50 if they can. Okay. That's their goal. Because why? Who holds this? You got to step back and ask yourself the question, who holds XRP?
Me.
So people do, right? The people. Okay.
Yes.
The people. Who holds silver? The people. What is silver called? the people's money.
Mhm.
It's called the people's money for thousands of years. Okay. Gold is the money of kings. Okay. So higher up institutions or kings, where silver has always been the money of people. So what's been going on? They have been using the money of people, silver, XRP, cryptocurrencies, everything. And you even saw in this last bull run, okay, this is so obvious. If you look at Bitcoin ran to like 124, 20, 25, whatever thousand from 14,000. That's a massive run. Okay. But what did XRP do? Like we were lucky to get $2 out of it. So I think it went up to about $3. And that was about it. The point was the alternate coins have been suppressed to high heavens. All of them. Every single because the institutions still are piling in on Bitcoin, and so they're still holding it. But the smaller investors, the people, what do? Manipulate the heck out of it to get those prices down. So in other words, when we should have seen an altcoin run in 2025 last year. Like we should have seen an altcoin run last year when Bitcoin ran up to 120, but we never got it. Why? Why was there never an altcoin run? Because they did everything possible to make sure that the alternate coins did not run. Are you with me? Because if they, the people again would make money like they did in 2021. Okay? And so they're doing everything to suppress the prices of specifically all the alternate coins, silver. XRP is part of the alternate coins. They're doing this because they don't want what? They don't want the people to have finance, to be financially positioned. Because if you have finances, who don't you need?
Banks.
Take care of you. Expand on that, because I know you do a ton of work, Noah, on your channel about the money creation, the corruption. So just verify everything I've said and expand on anything you want to add. But this is so important to understand because they don't want we the people, to be financially positioned because because specifically, they want us. Scripturally, they want us to remain the tail and them the head. Okay. So they want to keep being the head. They want to keep being the lender and mankind the borrower.
Yeah, that's right. I'll just keep it real brief, Bo, but you're exactly right. People don't understand our current money system. They don't understand we've been compromised since 1913 with the introduction of the Federal Reserve. They've got, it's an incredible system that they built for themselves, and they had to pass it on Christmas Eve to get it through Congress because no one would pass it in their right mind. But they built an incredible system where they get to literally just print the money that they want, and then they loan it to us. They loan it to us, to America, to the citizens. They loan it. The Federal Reserve loans it to the government at 2% interest. That's why you always hear anytime and I think the Federal Reserve has a meeting on Wednesday. Anytime they have a meeting, every time they always say our target goals are maximum employment and stable inflation, 2% inflation. That's an absurd system. 2% inflation. That just means the money gets less value over time. You put the money in a bank, it loses value over time. It's lost 93% of its value in the last 50 years if you just left your money in a bank. It's absolutely a criminal system. And they have the right to print as much of it as they want and to create as much of that inflation as they want. In contrast, Bitcoin has a fixed supply of 21 million coins. There can never be any more Bitcoin ever created. And it's actually deflationary because over time, some gets lost, some gets burned, people forget their passwords. It goes, the supply goes down, which means the value goes up. It's the exact inverse of the dollar. And same for XRP. People think XRP is different. It's not. It has a fixed supply of 100 billion, and XRP is burned on every transaction a small amount. So it also has a built-in deflationary mechanism where the supply over time goes down. That means the value goes up. So unlike the dollar, when you hold the dollar, you leave it in a bank account, it loses value day after day after day. You throw Bitcoin in a bank account, in a crypto wallet, you throw XRP into a crypto wallet, that goes up in value over time according to these metrics. So anyway, back to you, Bo.
No, that was great. Fantastic. And very interesting point Noah just made. This, everybody think about this, okay? Your parents, if you're older, or those listening, if if you were alive in the 70s, 80s, okay? If you literally took $30,000 and put it in your bank account and let it sit there, and you still had 30,000 today, okay? That 30,000 in 1970, 80 would have bought you a house. But if you let it sit there, your 30,000 today won't even buy you a decent car. Okay, just understand what they did with the money. Go ahead and know.
But I was just going to say, I distinctly remember growing up, and I must have been in maybe junior high school or a little bit, maybe even late elementary school. And I remember we were looking to move and we were looking for a new house. And I distinctly remember going and looking at some houses, and it's like, well, are we going to be in the $200,000 range? 300,000 is really pushing it. And I remember this vividly. Those houses today are over $1 million. Those exact same houses. That is not because the house got better. They're actually probably a lot worse now, 30 years later.
They're junk. Half of them are junk right now.
But
they need 100,000 to fix them up.
in less than a lifetime, in a few decades. That's just the inflation that I've seen, and it's out of control. Yeah.
So that's why, Noah and I, we've been talking specifically about, we understand the finance. So Noah and I, we got together and we've been talking, about what we've learned about finance. And then many people along the way have listened to us. Okay. And what's happened? Those that have listened to us are actually in an incredibly awesome position. Okay. Because Noah and I have always been saying, we're going to watch silver move. And God showed me very clearly, I know what he showed me. And there was nobody that I can really remember that ever thought silver is going to break through $50 or $100. And we've been saying this for the past 4 years. It's going to happen. Okay. And so so a lot of people are like, well, wait a second. So we explained the money to them. They're like, okay, that makes total sense. Okay. Like, it's not really complicated, especially with the way Noah and I explain it. So once you explain, you're like, okay, well, that's kind of messed up. You mean like they can create money out of thin air and over time, the money's going to become worthless? Yeah. Okay. So when you understand how money works, it's a scam. It's a fraud. So the money system is a fraud. What's not a fraud? Silver and gold. Okay. So if you were buying gold at $1,000, $1,200, okay, that was awesome because that might have been expensive then, but now it's like $4,500 or whatever I last checked. Okay. So, and silver is just under, it's like $75 or something like that. Okay. Point I'm making, when we were talking about silver, it was $18. It was $15. It was $20. It was $25. Okay. Why I'm saying this is because everybody who followed along and just like, hey, this financial system it's messed up, and money and silver and gold and money for 4,000 or 5,000 years. I think I'll buy some of that. And a lot of people listen to us. I know that, because when I go to a conference now, man, I have it's such a blessing to have all these hundreds of people coming up and just saying, thank you for never budging and staying on purpose, saying, that silver is going to do awesome things. And so we've been right. Silver right now, those who listen, are like, you're at least 3 times in the money right now from what you bought it. Okay. And this is the thing. You haven't seen what's about to happen yet. Okay. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay. So silver right now is 75. You can't buy it for that. You might have to buy for at least $10 more, probably because there's spreads now. When we were buying it, the spread was like $1. Now the spreads are $10, right? And this is not the dealers. This is what happens because it's precious and it's hard to get. And so everybody who's positioned right now is in an incredible position. Again, there are a lot of people, if you don't have, it's still on sale, okay? Because I'm going to show some numbers here where silver's going. Again, just my best guesstimate based on biblical numbers, but we're going to be right, okay? We are going to be right on what's about to happen. I don't care what he says, because God's about to intervene. We're stepping into a biblical event. And so I'm just telling you, it doesn't matter what people think. There's all these, new people popping up now. Apparently they know everything. And we've been out there saying forever that, what's going to happen with silver. We've been on target with Bitcoin's been easy to predict. Noah and I have been doing this forever on Bitcoin, and we've seen just the analysis on Bitcoin has been just incredible. Okay, the only problem with Bitcoin, it's boring right now. There's just not a lot to say because we're waiting for something. We are waiting for a godly move. We're waiting for God to do something because these people will not stop. Noah, it's like you talked about the 70s and the home price. What's going to stop these people? They have unlimited money. They can credit to infinity. They work with everybody globally around the world. You do the research on all of this stuff on people that, the global handshake, the Bilderberg groups. You've done all the homework on it. Are they going to stop and just say, oh, okay, let's just let, humanity, mankind, become wealthy?
No.
It's my point. It's my point. It will take an act of God to make that happen. They're never going to give up their position. Period. Okay. If they become, they had the offer that Jesus got in the wilderness, bow down to me, I'll make you king on the earth. Okay. These people in their heads, this is how crazy they are. They take a deal from the devil and they are now kings on the earth, and they don't want to give up their position, their dominion. They don't want to give up their wealth. And remember that movie, what's called The Minions? All those little white guys, little yellow minions. Mm-hmm. That's how they look at. Mm-hmm. You're watching this, they consider mankind to be the minions, and they're the few in charge.
Yeah, right.
It's the world.
That's true.
It's the world.
That's so true.
It's what it is, and so we're here to tell you that without an act of God, nothing's going to change. But we just had something happen that was the greatest thing in human history. Just
all
happened.
Right, hang on. Teaser. We'll get to that in just a minute.
Yep.
Let me say two things, and then we're going to get right into that. And I'm going to get your slides up on the screen. Maybe you can preload those for me again. I think I lost them though. But
I've got actually. We're going to play a video instead of the slides, and then we'll go to the slides.
All right. Well, let me cover two things that you said before I forget about it. Number one, you talked about a lot of XRP prophecies that are out there now, and there certainly are. And one of those guys that's been talking about that for a long time is our mutual friend, good friend, Manny, Dr. Manuel Johnson. And I wanted to mention him because he's going to be on the show maybe later this week. I got to find a time to get him on. We're bringing him back on, everybody. So stay tuned for that. And then the other thing I want to show just real quick, and then we'll go to your video, Bo, is you also mentioned briefly the 1-2-4 cycle. And I texted you, I sent you this, messaged you this, Bo, a couple weeks ago, but I was on vacation for a little bit. And let me put this on the screen. Everyone's going to love this. So I'm on vacation, and what room do they put me in? Check this out. They put me in the 1-2-4 room. So, how cool is that? I had to take a picture, and I sent that to Bo, and I just love that. So I don't know, Bo. They're watching me. They got me in the 1-2-4 room.
No, that's God. But that happens to me all the time. I'll look at my phone. Half the time it's 1-2-4. It's or 10-24 or 1-24. I see that so often. It's crazy. I've actually gotten rooms that are literally 1-2-4. That's happened 3 times already. It's crazy. It first started off with getting a tag, a code tag, which is when I was in Vienna. That was 6 something years ago. And then since then, man, I've gotten rooms 1-24 a bunch of times. It's funny. I laugh now because it's so predominant, or it's so common, I guess would be the awesome part.
Yes.
So God's just showing up in the details, but those I did a very detailed explanation. I'll show a slide on it later, and I'm not going to talk about it. But there's a clip on a screen. I'll show you a video I did maybe 2 weeks ago, and it's an extreme detail on the number 7 and the numbers 1-2-4, and you'll understand it and how it relates to time. But going back to what we want to talk about here is specifically, we literally just had the greatest event in human history happen 2 days ago. And we're going to talk about what just happened, but it's about a covenant that God made with the founding fathers. Okay. And while we're doing that, Noah can actually type up and do a Google search on the word immutable, IMMU, immutable. And the point I'm saying is this video is about a covenant that is immutable. No matter what anybody does, this covenant stands forever.
For many that have cried out, and said, God will destroy this nation. The Spirit says, may I remind you, the covenant that I made with this nation is immutable, is unchangeable. Do not forget the antiquity of the covenant that I made with this nation. Yes, they will be judged for the evil that they do, but can I take away a blessing that I have already imposed upon them? That I created and spoke before the world began, that I created and spoke over this nation, to feed the world, to heal the earth. God says, yes, judgment will come, but it shall not come at this time in the fashion that they have spoken. They have said, there shall be a crash and America shall be crippled. God said, not at this time, not at this time, for I have raised you up for a season. And there shall be 7 years where I will take you out of your besiegement. You have been besieged for 7 years, America. You have been surrounded by your internal enemies. Haters of America have stood up. And then they have said, there are those in the church that are anti-Israel. I say to you that there are many, but there are many more that are in the church that are anti-America and anti what I am going to do in this nation. I will give you a president that shall bring some ease to your debt challenges, and I will take the wealth of the wicked and for a season transfer it into the hands of the righteous, and those who have given and poured out their blessing into my land and to my people, says the Lord.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, that part about I will give you a president who will ease your debt challenges. That's got to be Trump, I would think. But we haven't seen that yet. I mean, actually, he's running the debt up a little bit more. So I think it seems to me, and you can tell me what you think, Bo, but it seems to me like there's going to be some massive event coming, probably involving gold and silver, probably involving a repricing of the monetary system, probably involving crypto, where Trump just redoes this whole thing. It's Bretton Woods 3.0, and he wipes a big chunk of the debt out, and we start over.
That's right. It's right, because he mentioned golden age, okay? You're not going to have a golden age with a Federal Reserve System, okay?
Yeah.
The Federal Reserve System is a enslavement system, okay? It's a slavery system, because if the king can create as much money as he wants, meaning the Federal Reserve, and lend that money out to the people become nothing but borrowers to a king, to the Federal Reserve that's creating money out of thin air. So it costs them nothing to make it, but they're enslaving the world, okay? So it costs them nothing to make money, but with that money that they create out of thin air, they enslave the world. Mm-hmm. So how's that sound to everybody? Okay. Mm-hmm. And so the point is, that's not the golden age. A golden age is a system of honest money. Okay. Silver and gold, honest money. Cryptocurrency, honest money. Why is it honest? Because it's open ledger. They're not creating out of thin air. There's limitations to what, how like Noah said, how many coins will be created. There's limitations on, and there's full exposure, in the transactions, you can see everything. Point I'm trying to make is that, the system needs to change. The golden age is a new system of finance and everything else. Mm-hmm. That's just one of the pieces. But the point I'm saying is, Trump has been in office for a while now. Okay. He's actually always had a full term, and now he's in for another term. Okay. But he's what? How long is he in this term? He's already now in this term, what?
About a year and a half.
Like a year, almost a year and a half now. And this is the simplest question I can ask everybody listening. How many people are in jail?
Yep.
That you know of. How many people are in jail that you know of? How many people have been reported in the news media that are in jail going back to 2008 and the mortgage fraud, and then everything else since?
Yeah.
Okay.
None.
None. Like goose egg, And anybody that goes in now, they let them out like a few months later. Like nobody's in jail. Yeah, go in. So there's immutable. Go and read that, Noah.
Yeah. Well, incapable of changing or being changed over time. And I thought it was really funny that the third bullet point there, it has a huge tie into blockchain and crypto.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's known as an immutable record.
Yes, exactly. That's a great point. Yeah, because once you send it, it gets stuck in the block, and it's in that block for all eternity. That transaction will never leave that block. It's immutable. So that's interesting. Yeah. So boom. Yeah. So Kim Clement prophesied that the covenant the founding fathers made is immutable. So these people can come in and they think that they're going to take over America. But yet, the founding fathers have a covenant with God, and look what happened, to Israel. Okay, every time before they turned away from Jesus, then it fell. Okay, so they abandoned the builder, and Israel collapsed. Okay, but before that, man, every time a nation or Israel would turn back to God, talk about blessings, right? It's a constant record of what would happen. And so that being said, we just turned to God. And this is important because if you understand free will, like I can't enforce my will on Noah because Noah still has his choice. Hey, I want to do that or not do something, right? Same thing, God's a gentleman. He's not going to force me or Noah or all those listening. Hey, I want you to do this, right? I want you to pick my son, Jesus. No. Jesus is at the door knocking, but you have to let him in through free will. Okay. It's always about free will. That's like the wedding concept, right? Like you want to marry the wife you're going to marry, or, if you're a woman, you want the husband you want to marry. It's a free will choice. No one's forcing you to walk up that altar, right? It's a free will choice. And so God's a gentleman. And so he's not going to force his will on America.
Yep.
Yeah. It's because actually it's his law. He's actually stated, that if free will is something specifically that is given to man, and man must ask. So what did Trump just do? He actually asked. He says, Lord, come heal our land. Okay. He read 2 Chronicles. If my children who are called by my name humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven. God will forgive our sins and heal our land. Now, I'm showing you this as an example because I did a podcast with Kent Christmas about 2 months ago, and he brought up Fiji. So I went to get some homework on this. Like, what the heck? This is awesome. So there was
I just want to say real quick, you gave me a little sneak peek of this before we went live. I had never heard about this either. I completely never heard anything about this, but I've researched it quickly, and it's all true. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and then so whatever, I'm going to give you some bullet points and anything you want to add on your research just to confirm everything, because I literally did the research, ChatGPT, I did the research on it, and it pulled up all the research on it, and then I had it plug it all into a slide. But this is insane because there was massive bloodshed in Fiji, okay, horrible. And then some time went by, and then the prime minister, okay, so it has to be a couple of bullet points about this. It has to be the head of the nation or the head of the, of the country. And in Fiji, they don't have presidents, they have prime ministers, okay? So the prime minister came together with the citizens to apologize to what was done with all the bloodshed. People can research all this, but it's on the left. It's panel 1. You can read that, okay? And then what happened was the prime minister with the people created and had look in the middle panel there in yellow, national prayer. You can't make this stuff up, okay? So they had a national prayer, but this is key, with the prime minister of Fiji. Very important, okay? Now this gets even more interesting because it happened on May 15th, middle of May. Where are we? Like We rededicated America on the 17th on Sunday. So this might have been a Sunday on 2005. It's probably the same exact day in the month in the year 2005. Like, you can't make this up. Okay.
Incredible.
And then because it's a smaller island, within 24 hours, this is the awesome part. Okay. Like, you can only say, but God on this one. So within 24 hours of the rededication, the waters were supernaturally filled, all the freshwater tanks. Fish swarmed the nets like never before. The citizens were saying, we have caught so many fish, our nets are tearing. The crops, barren fields began to create abundance. Fruit trees that had stopped producing became full back to life, tons of fruit. Unusual harvests came in a very short period of time. And this is even with regards to the village and the people. Sickness left. Streams and waters were healed. Families were restored. Peace, joy, unity filled the villages. Why is that important? Because in Joel, your sons and daughters will prophesy. They're going to come home. This is, and it's all about the harvest that's about to happen. And this is literally said, this is an example. It's a type and shadow. You can use this as a blueprint to what's next for America, period. Because we just rededicated America to God. And when you read 2 Corinthians 3:17, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty.
Mm-hmm.
Let that sink in. 2 Corinthians 3:17, where the Spirit, and like that, 17 too, happened the 17th. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. So we just rededicated America to God. God now has legal authority because the president asked God to come back to America. And because the president just asked, God now has legal authority to step into America and change everything. Go ahead, Noah.
Well, I just wanted to throw this up on the screen. I just ran this through Grok, and I won't read the whole thing, but people can do their own research. But it says, yes, there was a notable national prayer event in Fiji on May 15th, 2005, just like Bo just told you, often described in Christian circles as rededication or turning the nation back to God. So there it is right there. And then if you look down at the bottom, common reported outcomes, healing of the land and waters, fish returning to depleted areas, poisoned or arid land becoming fertile again, improved crops, restored national abundance. And then there's a whole lot more here. But I just wanted to throw that up on the screen. And once again, Bo, you nailed it. That's exactly right.
That's crazy, awesome. Like, seriously, what an exciting time to be alive, right? And then let's look at some mathematics on all this, okay? So this is kind of beyond cool. So let's look how Trump plays into all of this, okay? So he's born June 14th, 1946. 700 days to the exact day, Israel's declared a state. Okay, from his birthday, 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days, his first day in office. Then 78 years, 7 months, and 7 days. In other words, you add 8, and it's his second term, first day in office. Now, this gets interesting because just June 14th, so next month, he turns 80. Why is that important? Because on the right side, you're looking at here, 7 is completion and 8 is a new beginning. So 78 years with his presidency is completion and a new beginning. He turns 80. Moses was 80 years old when he freed Israel from captivity. And then the Israel timeline, 70 years, and then Trump moves the embassy to Jerusalem. 78 years was last week, May 14th. And if we run from the embassy opening to this May, we're 8 years. Okay, so we're at a new beginning here for humanity, mankind. So everything is shifting and changing. We're in a month, which is very interesting. And that ties into specifically the number 88. Okay. And why? Because it relates to the death of the Pope. Okay. So we've talked about this before many times with Noah, with numerous podcasts. We've talked about the number 88 and how it relates to specifically the death of the Pope, because that's what happened. The Pope died on was it April 24? No, April 21, okay, of last year. He was 88 years old. We're back to that number 8 again. But very interesting. So the Pope dies April 21. What is that? That's 421, right? No, it's like, there's your room number, okay? That you're 421. And so what happened this year on 421? Oh, Trump just happens to read Second Chronicles. Like, come on, like, of all the days he could have read Second Chronicles, it could have been any day. At first, he didn't even have to read it. And then the fact that he read it in the month of April on the 21st, like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Look at the last line. It says, heal our land. And then again, just on the 17th, he read it again on the 17th on the teleprompters. And specifically, he's asking God to come in to forgive our sins and to heal our land. Like, this is awesome. And, we showed this last time as well, too. The only way this is going to happen in spring, where you see the markets turn and just go gangbusters, is an act of God. Okay. There's no way the globalists are ever going to allow anything to happen. And then, furthermore, the rededication, what date did it happen? On the 17th, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. It's interesting that ties in with that as well, too. And it's very interesting. But then this is the cool part as well. So Noah and I have talked about this so many times. I want to just summarize again on the importance of this weekend. And also, Noah and I talked many times before about how the number 24 has been important in so many things that have happened in the past 5-6 years, okay? But specifically, what I want to point to here is the number 88 and the number 777. Okay, so the great North American eclipse, we all watched that happen. Everybody remembers the great North American eclipse. Remember this thing right here? Mm-hmm. It crossed over 7 cities called Salem, 7 cities called Nineveh, 7 years apart. It made a cross formation. And if you go 777, it takes you to specifically this Pentecost, May 24, 2026. And on April 8th, it crossed over a city a little town in Kerrville, Texas, which was 77 feet and 7 inches tall. Like, you just got to laugh because this is not possible that all this is happening. And so at the end of it, 777 days, we arrive specifically on Pentecost, May 24, 2026. And then the cherry on top of this is the sign that was written in the heavens 2,000 years ago, Revelation 12. How old was the Pope? 88. I'm going to just say it again. So if he's 88, 88 must mean something. Well, 8 years and 8 months from the Revelation 12 sign to the exact day is the same exact day, Pentecost, this weekend.
Wow.
Okay. So I'm just telling you, and then I'm looking at this here with regard to spring, okay? Why is spring so important? Because spring is a birthing month, okay? God doesn't birth things in winter, and we've talked about this so many times. You've listened to our podcast. He's going to birth, like, when do animals give birth, right? In springtime. It's a birthing season. It's a birthing time point. So expect something to be birthed right now. And I'm telling you, if we just rededicated America to God, Trump did this. God now has legal authority because God can want to do whatever he wants, but he can't until man asks him. It's very important because he will never force his will. And so now that we have asked God to come in and step in for America, we just are now waiting. Second Chronicles finishes with heal our land. And so we're at a moment in time where God's going to step in and we're going to see biblical. Like, this is biblical that's coming, okay? Biblical events are coming. The pharaohs of this world are about to come crashing down, and God's going to make a way. because the pharaohs of this world are the ones that will never, ever release us from bondage. We started with this, and we'll kind of, as we're coming into the end here, the pharaohs will never, ever, the Federal Reserve, those that create the money out of thin air, they want us to be in captivity forever, just like Israel was. They will never let us be free, but then God, right? God sent Moses, and look what happened, right? And Moses freed everybody. Trump's 80, same age when Moses did this. You gotta laugh. So Trump and him are the same age when all of this goes down. Go ahead, Noah.
Yeah, that's so cool. And Bo, I certainly would never call myself a prophet. That's not what I claim to do. I just cover the news. But your timeline here, at May 24th, and now heading into the spring, summer, and this golden age coming in. This lines up exactly with what I've been expecting and what I told people even before the election. I said, look, and I got a lot of this from my good friend Jovan Pulitzer, who's actually coming on the show tomorrow. But we talked about this before the election, and he and I both said, look, obviously it's going to be really bad if Kamala wins. We don't want that. That's like really deep, dark times, and America might be finished. But it's not going to be all roses for the first few months, first year of Trump's term either. He has a lot to clean up in the world, in America. And I told people that, hey, look, I think we're in for probably a really tough 12 to 18 month period after the election. And it's not because of Trump. It's because he's going out and doing the stuff that's been neglected for the past 50 years. And he's finally cleaning it up because it's like ripping off a Band-Aid and no one wants to do it. He's going to go around and do it all. And it's gonna be kind of tough for a while, but then it is going to turn. I think it's going to turn quickly, and we're going to have some of the best years that you can remember in your lifetime. And I think we are on the edge of stepping into that moment. That's just me from a news covering point of view.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself, because you're actually on target on that, because we're almost at a year and a half now, 18 months. And again, but the only way the turning point happens, right, is an act of God. Because as much as Trump might want to do all these things, the problem is there's a global syndicate of people against him, like literally worldwide people around the globe working against him. Okay. And so as we've seen, like he's in his second term, but he's there. He's the vessel. Like if you look at this right now, you're looking at Moses right there. Okay. He's a vessel that God is using. Okay. All you got to do is interlace, remove him and put Trump standing there. And it's the same thing that's going to happen. God's using him. He uses man, but man must be willing. You see, he was willing to do God's will. So, he said, Father, use me. And he did. Mm-hmm. And the same thing's about to happen. Trump is letting God use him. And now we're seeing awesome things about to happen. So we're at a very critical time point. But the key, the most important day in human history literally just happened 2 days ago. Okay. And you'll know who the true prophetic voices are, Noah. Because all of them were talking about this, okay? The ones that call themselves prophets or hear from God, they weren't talking about this because God doesn't talk to them, okay? That's how you know. So just if you want to know who hears from God and who doesn't, it's a very simple test right now. Literally go to their websites or YouTube channels and see what were they talking about this weekend? What were they talking about on the 17th? And the ones that were all like Kent Christmas, Robin Bullock, the Carolyn Dennis, all these people that I know were all just screaming from the rooftops how important this date was. And the ones that call themselves prophets are talking about everything but, okay? Mm-hmm. And so this is very important. We need to understand that God speaks, and he's speaking. He's a living God, and he's been telling us this is about to happen. The other thing he's been saying is about to happen is this, okay? So silver has been in a final sale ever since it topped out in January. Okay, so it went up to $121. It's dropped down into March. It's down, it went down to like in the high 60s, and it's in the 75 range, 80 range. It's working its way back up, and it's toying in there. And then we're just going to wake up one morning, and this thing's just going to rip. Like it's just gonna go, okay? And when it goes, the prophecy is it's gonna blow through $121 like you've never seen before, okay? So this thing is just gonna rip when it goes. So this is not a matter of if it's gonna happen. Oh, it's gonna happen. Okay, it's 1,000% going to happen, and this podcast that Noah and I are doing is going to be proven 1,000% right. Why? Because it's prophecy. God said it's going to happen. He showed me it's going to happen, and I know it's coming. It's just a matter of the day it happens. He's not going to give us the day it's going to happen, but we are so close, so close to this thing going down, and it goes down this year. We're going to see historic moves on precious metals, but understand when this event happens, Noah, the Federal Reserve System is taking it in the pants, okay? Because it's the prophecy, right? The wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. So this is the transition where we become the head and no longer the tail. And this is the point I'm trying to make. The globalists will never let this day happen, okay? They will never let this day happen. And because of that, it's an act of God. That's the bottom line. Yeah. The only way this is going to happen is an act of God. But when this happens, okay, understand that, when you look at the numerics on there, it's just like a fun slide to put together. Again, this is not telling you what's exactly going to happen, okay? This is for fun, educational purposes at best. But this is like, it's kind of real in terms of using, because the Bible talks about sevenfold. If you take like $80 times it by 7, you're like $600 on silver. Okay. That's insanity. It's not possible. It's an impossibility without an act of God, but an act of God is coming. Okay. So I don't care what anybody says. We're going to see silver go through $600, period. Okay. So silver today at 75, it's still on, it's cheap because it's going to blow through 100, and it's going to just keep going, and it's going to be incredible. And then furthermore, there's a second part in scripture. It talks in Mark 4:20, blessings are 30, 60, 100-fold. Like you're talking 2,000, 5,000, 8,000. Like we're talking like numbers that are just what? You see? But understand when this stuff's happening, the body of Christ, back to like we the people are enormously blessed financially, making us the lender to the nations. And what happens is the globalists they lose their wealth. They lose it. They lose it. That's what's coming. And this is, again, in scripture, this is the flipping of the financial scales. Everything flips and changes. And then when this happens, this ties in specifically with the move of God, ties in with a silver explosion, which then ties in with cryptocurrency explosion. Are you with me, everybody? You're never going to see a cryptocurrency explosion. We're never going to see a moonshot. We're never going to see a massive vertical move and an explosion without an act of God. But now we've asked God. We're actually heading into this weekend, which is 777 days from the Great North American Eclipse, which is 8 years and 8 months from the Revelation 12 sign. Like this is impossible, but it's the same exact day, Pentecost. And understand what happened is ascension, when Christ goes to heaven, okay, that was this past weekend. This next weekend is Pentecost, which is where Christ sends the Holy Spirit to earth. And this is expected to birth the greatest time in history because the glory is expected to fall on the earth. Okay, so I don't know what's exactly going to happen. I count math, okay? So again, I count time, but all I know is we're at a moment where something historic's about to go down. And those that are positioned financially, who've done what Noah and I have done, have loaded up on silver over the years, okay? Immense prosperity and blessings are coming to the church. So we'll be blessed to be a blessing.
If we can hold on 1 second, I got a question up on the screen. I thought it was a good one. It says, if silver goes up dramatically before the cryptos take off, should we pour that into XRP? I want to just answer that briefly from me, but then of course we want to hear what Bo has to say. But of course we tell you all the time, neither one of us is a financial advisor. We can't tell you what to do. Every situation is different. And I can't tell you what to do anyway. But I do like to be open and transparent about what I am doing. And I think I said on our last show, and really a couple shows ago that when silver made its big run up to 120, when it got to 100, I took a big chunk of my silver and sold it. Not all of it, but I thought, you know what? I'm very happy with. I've been buying this for years at $20. It now went to 100. It might go to 600 after that, but I am very happy taking a big chunk off. At the same time, XRP has been boring, as we've been talking about. It's been artificially suppressed down, I believe. And so I thought, well, XRP is suppressed down. Silver just did a 5x for me. So I took a big chunk off the table, and that's exactly what I did. I put it all into XRP. But the question's really posed to you, Bo. So what do you say to that question?
Well, I think what Noah did was awesome. I personally am not playing that game now because I don't know that you're going to have time to do something like that, because it's silver. You got to go to a coin shop, get the cash, and this could, when it happens, no one knows how fast it's going to go down, but I think it all goes down the same day.
Wow.
So
there you go.
I think Noah did a great job because he got out at 5x, and then he came in and he bought XRP in the $1.50 range or whatever it was. So you can get a lot of XRP at that price. But to try to time that one of because when silver goes, XRP is going to go. It could go. XRP might actually go before, and then silver could go right afterwards, because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Someone behind the scenes might actually know something, and they jump in and buy XRP. We don't know who's going to go first, but the silver is going to be the trigger of it, whether we see it immediately or not. We don't know how this is all going to play out, but it ties in with the number 20,000. The Kim Clement said it ties in with 20,000, but no one knows what 20,000 means. Some people say it's the Dow. Some people say it's it's a gold. I don't know what it means. We're going to find out. But again, I ain't playing anything right now. There's nothing for me. There's nothing to play. I'm just positioned. I'm not playing. I'm just positioned.
Yep, same here.
Yeah.
Well, all right, Bo. I know we got a lot of interest in crypto. You were just going there, and I cut you off. So let's talk some crypto.
Yeah, so I'll just hit this. Before we talk about crypto, as we talk about crypto, again, people need to learn about wallets. Okay, so I made this slide here a little while ago. Learn about wallets, and then if you want to know the details of how all these things work, because Noah can probably expand upon it as good as I can. But they're just this creates private security, and then we have what's called Easy Crypto School. But in and of itself, it's a matter of learning how to control your own coinage so you don't have anybody steal it from you, and the security of it, because ultimately we're heading into a new financial system. The golden age is a new financial system, and the new financial system specifically is going to be blockchain based. Okay, you're going to be using blockchain from your phone to send it to your friends and family and stores and buying things. Why? Because when this event happens, this biblical event that goes down this year, no one's going to trust the Federal Reserve System anymore. So the new money system is going to be blockchain, and it's just going to be boom. It's just going to start happening. It's already there. It's just that no one's using it to the degree it's going to be used. And so you might as well, if you have a little, some time right now, learn how to work the system. Right, Noah?
Yeah, that's great. And I always love to talk about this when I have you on, because I know it's helped so many people over the years, and probably still a lot of people out there that haven't tried it yet that need to. So on the screen, this is actually Bo's creation. He created this years ago, and it's helped a lot of people since then. It's called easycryptoschool.com. The link is at the very top of the screen right now. And if you want to go there, it's a self-directed class. So you can go through it as fast as you want, or you can take your time, really soak it in. You can go through it multiple times until it really sinks in, whatever you want to do. But it's going to take you from not knowing anything about crypto, and then it's going to tell you how to do everything the right way and safely, and avoid scams and avoid mistakes. There's a lot of mistakes you can make. So easycryptoschool.com, it's on the screen. Anybody listening to this interview, Bo's going to give you 50% off if you want to try that out. When you check out, you just look for the promo code box. You type in WLT49. It's going to give it to you for 50% off. So that's awesome. Bo, thanks for always offering that to anybody listening to the show. Appreciate it.
Sure. And then also furthermore, if people want to learn about like what coins we hold, which coins I like, and more importantly is, the cycles, because cycles are important. Again, right now, I got to be honest, it has been boring. As I just got to use the word boring, because, I normally write 3-4 newsletters. For years, I've been writing 3-4 newsletters a week. And now I'm probably writing one a week because it's been so boring. And I know it's just been going sideways. But things are about to shift here. The pattern is holding. It's just, and we have the pattern for what's going on. We're just waiting for the explosion time point. So, and after it explodes, do expect a sharp takedown. So it's going to be very volatile, because they're not going to want the explosion to happen, but they can't stop it from coming. Okay, so the explosion's coming. They can't stop it from coming. So it's going to happen 1,000% when God intervenes. They're going to freak out. They're going to try to hammer it down. And then it's going to turn around. It's going to jump vertical again. And so there's going to be like 3 legs that I'm expecting. We're going to see 3 massive legs that are going to happen, each one bigger than the next. So again, that'll be a very fun time to watch this stuff when this is going on. And it's all predicated on that initial explosion.
Yeah. Well, very, very good. If, I always say this is up on the screen now too. If you, Bo, I always love having you on the show. You give away so much value for free. I think people, if they've been listening to this point, they understand that and they see that clearly. So thanks for always giving us so much for free. But if you're the type of person that wants that really detailed day by day turn cycle analysis that Bo puts together, you can get his private newsletter. You don't have to get it. You can just listen to this. That's totally fine. You can just buy and hold Bitcoin and sit on it and do that if you want to. But if you're the person that wants the detail, that's at gold2020forecast.com. It's at the top of the screen right now. And again, anybody listening to this show, you can when you check out, you want to sign up for that, look for the promo code box WLT4 and type in WLT49. It's going to give you 50% off. And then the cool thing is you'll get all the new reports. And you can also look at all the historical ones. So Bo's an open book. His whole history is in there. You can look at the history and compare it to what the market has done. And it's pretty cool to backtrack that and back test it. So that's up there. I will also, right now, real quick, if anybody, sometimes this is easier, let me put this on the screen, a QR code right here, top left of the screen. If you point your phone towards that, it'll give you a link, take you right to gold2020forecast.com. So there you go.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll just say, what a blessed time to be alive. We have been waiting a long time. Noah and I have been doing this for a long time. And, I know personally, Noah, that when I go to events, I'll say the coolest thing is so many people actually walk up and say, I love, like, they reference different podcasts that I do, but the most common one I get a lot of times is actually, we love when you and Noah are together, and they really appreciate us. So, and the reason being because you are very knowledgeable, and then, you love Jesus like I do. And, we're on the same page with everything. And we're just, what are we trying to do? Expose the truth of what's been going on. And so many people have been blessed by what we've been talking about for all these years. But again, right now with everything we've said, precious metals, cryptocurrencies, they are fighting tooth and nail. The prophecy is very interesting. They've been fighting tooth and nail to never, ever let Sunday's event happen. Okay. They didn't want Trump to rededicate America. And now that this event has happened, oh man, God has legal authority. And he couldn't force his way into America. And think about it. In our lifetime, have you ever heard a president read 2 Chronicles, dedicate America to God? Like, never. No. Okay. No. This is never happened before. And so now, again, please, we showed you what happened with Fiji. When we done here, go do your homework on Fiji, what happened. Okay. It's going to be a type and shadow of what happened with Fiji. And it's very interesting. The events in Fiji happened in spring, in the month of May, okay? Mm-hmm. And then everything changed from that point on. So if you want a marker, like, we're here. And again, the last thing I'll say is this weekend is what Noah and what Lord revealed to me, the calculations, and I've been talking with Noah on this podcast with him. for probably maybe 9 months or a year about the importance of Pentecost this coming weekend because its relationship to the great North American eclipse. That was literally, God designed that to tell us to count to this weekend coming up.
Yeah, that's so
God
cool.
wrote in Revelation 12, in Revelation on Patmos Island 2,000 years ago, that was in there. And the calculation on that story and that alignment of Virgo was written in Revelation, let this sink in, to point to one of the reasons, because it actually points to the return of Christ in the future. But one of the main calculations before that was what the Lord showed me was for this coming weekend, Pentecost. So I don't know what else to say, but something's about to happen. And I'll finish with Isaiah 61. Isaiah 61 says, the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance. The year, and if that video, actually, I forgot to show one thing here, Noah. I want to pop that screen on, but you want to watch this because specifically it shows you the timelines that I'm speaking of, but how to more so how to calculate everything. Okay. And so the calculations part of it is very important because you understand how to calculate. And so you'll see what I'm saying. But in that, you'll understand the calculations from birth of Jesus. So from the Beth Star, Bethlehem, most importantly, from the birth of Jesus at 0, the calculations literally pointed to last 4th of July, 2025. And that started Isaiah 61, the year of the Lord's favor. Okay. But a year is 1 year. So this 4th of July ends that year. So what it says is there's a year of the Lord's favor, but within that year, there's a day of vengeance. Something's supposed to happen. Okay. When God does something, you're going to see silver, gold, cryptocurrencies explode. And if it's going to happen, springtime. It's a birthing season, period. Look what happened with Fiji, springtime, okay? Look what happened with what we just did, rededication. The greatest day in human history. We just rededicated America to God. So how this all plays out, God knows, not me, but the math is screaming. We're here. This weekend is expected to be historic. There is a Baptize the World this weekend, and then we're heading into the 4th of July, the 250th year for America, the rebirthing of America. So thank you, Noah, for having me on, and I'm really excited to see this 4th of July. But before that, I really am curious to see what the calculations are pointing to that are supposed to trigger this, this weekend onwards. So we shall see and watch.
Yeah, that's great. What a perfect way to end it. Bo, thanks for being here. And to everybody tuning in live with us, I know there's been a lot here, even all the way from England. So welcome, England. And thank you, everybody else, for being here. Appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.